The man who built Nintendo terrorized his employees, terrified his own children, and only agreed to work for Nintendo in the first place under the condition that he would be the only member of his family allowed to work there.
So they sacked his cousin.
This is the reign of Hiroshi Yamauchi, Nintendo's notorious and infamous longest-serving president.
In the 136 years Nintendo's been around, there have actually only been 6 presidents. The first 2 lasted 60 years, the last 3 less than half that.
And Hiroshi did the rest, ruling for nearly 40% of the company's history. But he's also the reason anyone cares about Nintendo at all.
He was equal parts genius and demon, taking Nintendo from humble playing cards to global empire in just a few short decades.
But calling him a little controversial is like saying the Virtual Boy gives you a bit of a migraine. And sure, he turned Nintendo into the enormous red blob we know today.
But along the way, he ruffled more feathers than Banjo's backpack.
And the problem started from day one. Many of Nintendo's loyal top brass weren't thrilled that a 22-year-old kid was now running the show. Getting his own cousin sacked didn't help matters either.
And he was only offered the position of president because his predecessor had A, no immediate heir, B, was his grandfather, and C, had had a stroke. But Yamauchi took staff criticisms on board in a fair and understanding way by sacking every damn one of them.
As quickly as he'd arrived, they were gone, and the sackings didn't end there. Shortly after, he began making some reforms.
Yes, like reforming people from being employed to being not employed.
This was getting all too much for Nintendo's labor union, who thought that Yamauchi was too young and too inexperienced to know what he was doing. Before long, they were on strike, some even going as far as starving themselves to make their voices heard.
But Yamauchi once again took their criticisms on board in a fair and understanding way by sacking every damn one of them too.
This cunning and cutthroat attitude may seem a little strange in one so young, but don't let his age fool you.
During the Second World War, Yamauchi was assigned to a military factory. With food being scarce, there was a war on, Yamauchi kept himself fed from his grandmother's stockpile of rice. So much so that one day, he caught his supervisor eyeing up his lunch.
Sensing an opportunity, he gladly shared some of his rice with his superior and was rewarded with time off work. And from that moment on, he always brought 2 lunches to work each day, one for himself and one for his supervisor.
And spent the rest of the war doing sweet all.
So Yamauchi was a guy who'd been around, and despite early setbacks, his first 10 years at Nintendo went from strength to strength. He modernized and improved Nintendo's Hanafuda cards to meet new Western standards.
That means he coated them in plastic.
And by 1959, he'd sealed Nintendo's very first licensing agreement. Can you guess who it was with?
Ooh, let me see. Was it Elvis Presley?
No, it was Walt Disney!
Walt Disney. Who didn't see that coming?
And the results spoke for themselves. With the power of Disney in their back pocket, card sales soared. But problems were still never too far away.
Turns out, although Nintendo's Disney playing cards were successful, quality was still ropey compared to the Western counterparts. And the company's bread and butter Hanafuda cards had about as much growth potential as a plate of pan-fried magic beans.
Yamauchi wanted more, and more money to go and get it. So he took Nintendo public and went looking for new business ventures. And this is where rice comes back into the story.
Yamauchi had noticed the boom of the newfangled instant ramen in Japan, and these quick noodle snacks were becoming ever more popular.
It was so simple. Just add water and hey presto, you have instant noodles.
Yes, they know how instant noodles work. They're into Nintendo.
Okay.
Yamauchi figured instant rice would be a good way of hopping onto the just add water bandwagon, and Nintendo Instant Rice was born.
Unfortunately for consumers, you'd get more flavour running your tongue along a junkie's carpet than from Nintendo's instant rice. It was shit, and it flopped, because of course it did.
What a shame. But Yamauchi was undeterred and continued to explore any and all possibilities, including a taxi company that did quite well actually.
Until he binned it off because the unions got on his nerves again.
And famously, a love hotel with rooms rentable by the hour. Allegedly, anyway. Some doubt it's actually true.
Think of it like Luigi's Mansion, but with dirty bastard.
Hell!
But he could never shake off the fact that Nintendo had simply become too damn good at selling playing cards and not much else. The path from Nintendo to toy shops around Japan had been well worn by this point. They'd even started a distribution company, so why not produce something he could send through the same pipeline?
Ah, but what to choose? What could possibly go down the same distribution routes as playing cards?
Oh, don't patronize them, Hev. They made toys, okay? Toys. Obviously. They made toys, then games, then video games. They made the Ultra Hand, that baseball thing, then the Game & Watch came along, then the 90s happened, and now we pay $80 for Mario Kart. That's the story.
You don't let me have anything ever.
You may have noticed that although there's been a bit of sacking and striking, nothing has been too unusual, certainly not in the world of business.
Yeah, Yamauchi clearly had an instinct for business, but his instinct for people and relationships was legendarily bad.
Over the course of his reign, he developed a reputation that struck fear into the hearts of employees and the people in Nintendo's orbit.
He was a notorious womanizer, unfaithful to his wife, and often brought his anger home with him, scaring his children. He was distant from his family, emotionally and physically, mistrusting even his own daughters. His success made him cocky and arrogant, crushing anyone who challenged him. He manipulated markets, bullied employees, fired people on a whim, and even pitted teams against each other, fostering quite a toxic workplace.
Sorry, are we listing bad things here?
Of course we are!
Oh, let's not the bed. Yamauchi also gave a lot to charity. Gave $60 million to expand a Kyoto hospital, $83 million to fund a cancer treatment center. He liked a game of Tetris too, when he found the time.
No, he didn't. He didn't like playing video games at all unless he had to.
We saw him playing it that time.
That was the Tetris movie, idiot.
Was it?
Yes. He's been dead for 12 years.
12 years. How time flies.
Speaking of Tetris, actually, the founder of the Tetris company, Hank Rogers, said Yamauchi's leadership style was best described as autocratic, saying if you ever worked with him and you disagreed with him in a meeting, you were fired. Period.
Good.
Why is that good?
Because as well as being perpetually shiny for some reason, the man knew what he was talking about. Clearly, look at what he built.
Yamauchi, or the Mother Brain, as he was dubbed, had his demons, but his success and intuition can't be overstated. He didn't just stumble into video games. He bet big, and more often than not, the payout was even bigger.
In 1977, Yamauchi personally interviewed Shigeru Miyamoto, who'd showed up to present some of his toy ideas. Yamauchi saw the potential in him straight away and hired him on the spot. But as an artist, even though Nintendo was still mostly into toys at the time.
See? His intuition pays. The next thing you know, this new guy had whipped up Donkey Kong, and the rest is history.
It's all history.
And it was another part of history. And he didn't stop there either. He was obsessed with making a home video game console that any family could afford. Something feasible for every living room. And to cut a ridiculously long story short, the Famicom launched in 1983. Or, to normal people like me, the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Hiroshi Yamauchi's decisions almost single-handedly turned Nintendo from a simple toy maker into a video game juggernaut.
And he was so ahead of the curve was still a flat line and hadn't begun even curving yet. He's quoted as saying, customers are not interested in grand games with higher quality graphics, sound and epic stories. People are not interested in cutting-edge technologies.
And you think he was right?
Of course he was right. It just took the industry 40 years to realise it. Look at Minecraft. Look at Roblox. They've earned more money than a Japanese hourly rented love hotel, I can tell you.
So, look at The Witcher 3. Look at Elden Ring.
Look at my ass, bitch. It's winking at you.
Oh.
It's difficult to imagine the gaming landscape if Hiroshi Yamauchi had never said yes 76 years ago.
Love him or hate him, he left the kind of impression that could only be made by one hell of a hard and heavy object.
And there's one thing I've learned for sure.
And I'm sure you're going to tell us what that is.
He may have been a bit of a demon, but going from bits of paper to one of the most widely loved, recognizable and successful multinational conglomerates of all time doesn't just happen by accident. So wouldn't you know it, just like me, that demon turned out to be an absolute f***ing legend.